Welcome to this week's layout. I'm Anita with beandesigns.com, here to help you create awesome digital scrapbook layouts by sharing my layouts with you. This is week 25 of 52 DigiScrap layouts in 52 weeks using GIMP, which is a free open source Photoshop alternative. The most recent version of GIMP at the time of this recording is 2.10.20, which is the version I am using. I have several tutorials on setting up GIMP for creating digital scrapbook layouts, so check out the channel if you would like to see any of those. Information on the digital kit used in this layout is provided in the description box, along with some suggestions for some of my tutorial videos that relate to today's layout. This is this week's layout, and it is the partner page to last week's layout if you're interested in checking out that video. For this layout, we have 3 photos. I cropped and scaled one of the photos to be 1800 pixels per inch square and the other 2 to be 1200 pixels per inch square. Then I used a photo prong on the outer upper left edge and lower right edge. I have the 2 papers with some stitching along the top and the bottom of the matte paper. I have a cluster of flowers here and a cluster here to the bottom left. I have all of my papers and elements lined up here ready to put onto our layout for this week, and I have our layout image prepared. 3600 by 3600 pixels per inch square that allows for a 300 pixels per inch resolution, which is really good for printing, which I will be printing mine into a bound album. I also have our guidelines along the outer edge, allowing for a 1/2 inch border so that I can visually see where I'm placing my elements on the layout, being very cognizant of what could be wasted during the printing process. I never want to put anything important in that 1/2 inch border because it could be cut off during the printing process. So let's go ahead and I'm going to drag and drop our papers onto the layout. I have our pink one and the blue one. And then I'll need to reorder them because they ended up on top of some of the photos. So with our blue paper active, I'm going to use the crop tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle onto my layout. Then I'm going to confirm that it's 3600 pixels wide and 2600 pixels tall. Then I'm going to click inside the highlighted area, and that will remove anything outside the highlighted area, and then use my move tool to move it into the center of our layout. Last week's layout had this mat as well. So visually, when I print it, I'll have the 2 pages side by side, and this mat will go visually all the way across from left to right. The same thing will happen with our stitching. It will also have the effect and illusion of going all the way across the 2 pages, kind of giving a continuity between the 2. That is not absolutely necessary. I tend to do that on a regular basis because I know that I'm going to be printing them and into a book, and they're going to be side by side. And remember, I have shown you this before. The digital kit that provided me with the stitching, they created it to be longer than the 12 inches, allowing me to put it at a diagonal if necessary, but I can trim it to the layers to the image size by choosing layer to image size, and that reduces the extra part away. But I have to have that layer active when I apply the action. There we go. So let's go ahead and put in our photo prongs onto the image, and those will need to be on top of our photo and the bottom one. And so the ribbon is going to be on the bottom of our cluster, then the heart, and then let's bring in a flower and a white flower and the jewel for the center of the white flower. Everything when you bring it into, when you drag and drop your items onto your image, everything goes to the center of your image. I really want all of this to be over on the left side. So I'm going to use my transform tool, right click. I'm going to go to flip, and taking a look at our tool options, we can flip it horizontally or vertically. So I'm going to choose horizontal, and then you can see on my image over here by my cursor, we have an arrow that goes left and right. So I just click inside the selection and it is flipped. I now want to scale it to size. We're going to click the scale button to apply that action, and then I can just place that there. And so my rose is going to go just over here, and then we're going to have a white flower here and two white flowers. But the rose is a tad bit large, so let's make it a little bit smaller. Click the scale button to apply. Then let's pull us a white flower. We're going to scale that to size and duplicate it twice. Move, let's put one over here and one here and then one there. And our jewel center, we're going to scale it to size as well. And we will duplicate that twice. I think I'm going to put this white flower below. So I moved that white flower underneath the pink one. And then, so there you go. You can maneuver these however you want. On my sample one, we also had a cluster right up here. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So we have I'm looking for, use my move tool. I can click on that. That puts us on that layer, duplicate it, pull it up here, click on a white one, duplicate it, pull it up. Let's duplicate it again. And let's put this one below. There we go. And let's do two of these. One, two. So there is our layout. We'll add dimension ink the edges, add shadows. Once you've done all of that, you're going to end up with this finished product. I've added shadows to my elements. I've inked the edges of the photos to help them have some dimension, added shadows to the stitching. I added that edging to our mat to make it look a little bit 3D. Did the multiply on the edge of the page to give it a little bit of 3D look. All of that information can be details on how to do all of those. I have several tutorials that you can check out to do that. Here I have my completed page. I would save it in the .xcf GIMP native format. I would save it as a JPEG at the full 300 pixels per inch so that I can print it into my album, and I would reduce that JPEG also and save it as a file that's only 72 pixels per inch so that I could share it digitally without taking up lots of extra space that's not needed when you're looking at it digitally, because your pixels per inch necessary for looking at something on a monitor is much different than when you're printing it. I hope you guys are enjoying sharing in my journey as I share with you the layouts I'm doing while I'm preserving memories for my future generations. And I'd really like to encourage you to do that as well. As a help for that, I have created templates which I'm offering to you for free over on the website www.beandesigns.com. As each of the layout tutorial videos are released, I will have a template for free ready for you there. If you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you did, please like it and check out my channel for the other layout videos as well as tutorials on how to do any of the different um, things that I did in the layout. While you're there, I just invite you to subscribe and click the bell so that you'll be notified when I have released a new video. So keep on preserving your memories through your digital scrapbooking, and bye bye until next week.